Hello, and welcome to our podcast, Revelation Verse by Verse, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast will not only impart the wonderful book of Revelation, but it will also show you how to study the Bible, so you have confidence in Scripture. Each episode will provide key points for verses in Revelation. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of Revelation. We're in chapter 17. It's an amazing chapter, folks, I need to tell you. So hope you can, it's a little hard to grasp. And of course, opinions differ as it is prophecy. But I will remind you again, we look at prophecy as representing literal events despite being clouded in imagery. So I will give you my opinion, and I've worked in the opinion of other well-known commentators, but ultimately, again, you'll have to decide for yourself in looking at the text. There's no really firm answer. We're in the second half of the tribulation in chapter 17. That's the 7-year period of God's wrath and punishment upon the earth, between the rapture, when believers are taken up out of the earth, living and dead, to heaven, and at the end, after 7 years, Christ's wonderful return, second return, setting up his 1,000-year reign, and after that, ushering in eternity. So in the second half of the tribulation, the Antichrist comes to a greater power. What's pictured here is Babylon. Babylon is the world system that goes all the way back to Genesis 10, where Nimrod and his colleagues set up a Tower of Babel, to fight against God, to claim themselves as God, man as God, to do his own will and judge himself. And this battle, as you're probably aware, has been there since world history down to the present day. So this world system, which is described as a whore, seducing the nations and men to participate with her, sat on the beast, which is the Antichrist, gaining her power from the Antichrist, and stand above the waters, which is described in verse 1, and over which they rule. So we found out that the Antichrist does rule along with the system, the whore, and also persecutes the church. So we've come then to the end of the chapter. We'll go through verses 15 to 18 today, finishing the chapter and what is happening with this whore, the world economic system. And he, the angel, which is described in verse 1, saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, otherwise under the beast, where the whore sitteth, and the peoples are the people and the multitudes and the nations and the tongues. Otherwise, the economic system and the beast rule over the world in the second half of the tribulation. And the 10 horns which thou sawest among the beasts, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. So these 10 horns which are yet to appear, as described earlier, and will be powerful for only a time, are set against the economic system. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give the kingdom to the beast. Otherwise, the beast seems to change sides against the whore, along with these kings. I think so the beast can have complete control. And this occurs until the words of God shall be fulfilled. Otherwise, the finishing of the tribulation and Christ's second return. Verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is the great city. Again, most people would think this is Rome, some specifically the papacy. That's an older thought. The Pope is now much less powerful than he was, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So this source of power, the 7 hills, and this is why people think it was Rome and the great Roman Empire, and the Antichrist is perhaps typed by the Roman Empire, and Daniel 9 verses 24 to 27 might play into this. We really do not know where the great city is. that's carrying on a sort of spiritual Babylon. So it may well be Rome, and maybe we don't know when this occurs. That's because we don't know when the rapture occurs. Once the rapture occurs, then the 7 years start. We know when Christ returns. But God has kept that from us. So that time of the rapture is held secret. Okay, so what do we learn? We've finished setting up sort of the height of power of the Antichrist and the beginning of the fall of Babylon. Otherwise, Babylon, this world system, has all this power, seems to be working with the beast, dependent on the beast and these 10 kings who come to power for only a short time, perhaps towards the end of the tribulation, though we don't know exactly, fight against her. So this sets us up for chapter 18, where we see, finally, by God's blessing, the end of this corrupt, God-hating world system, before we have the time of justice and peace with God through Christ when he returns again, which is chapter 19. Yay. Thanks for joining me today. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast, Revelation Verse by Verse. We hope you found the teachings both interesting and informative. Join us next week for another exciting episode. To listen to all episodes, please visit our website, teliosresearch.com. That's TELEIOS. Thank you.